Okay then, so let's therefore have a look on some information that is of course pertaining to practically the whole franchise. Well, sorry, Age of Empires 3, but nonetheless we are going to be also quite a bit, I think, could be happy that we're gonna be having some show match tournament for Retold coming as well on the Red Bull Wololo El Reinado, as there is a tournament that's gonna be coming up, as you can see, 3rd to 6th October. It was quite a bit of a weird time waiting for all the announcements and everything, because obviously first it was showcased rather, that it is going to be included in Age of Empires 2, which obviously was to be expected from the get-go. And there was the whole speculation if there's gonna be Age of Empires 4 the whole time, as considering they were even kind of claiming the best-selling expansion ever and everything along those lines, then everybody was expecting it practically has to be a must, which frankly is making pretty good sense, but it really does not entirely feel that way, to be honest. No, not nonetheless, on Monday we got some more information, and we also got the news that Age of Empires 1 is gonna be involved again, and that Retold, as he mentioned, is going to be having some part in that as well. So for the games, for Age of Empires 2, Age of Empires 4, we already do have right now the information what is exactly going to be happening here. So we can probably go into those, or maybe let's gonna go bit by bit. As you can see, Age of Empires 1 is gonna be a bit of a special affair, as it practically was even before, even in the previous one. Basically, it's focused on the Vietnamese community, basically having the biggest viewership there, bigger than any kind of other Age of games in general. So it's a big thing in there, and it's going to be having a special treatment again, which means that qualification is going to be practically in the hands of the Vietnamese community, and they're gonna be doing it on, wait, I'm switching into the Discord. They're gonna be doing it on the original game, as far as I understand. It's gonna be hosted by the company. I'm not entirely certain if it's listed anywhere, but nonetheless, it is going to be a local affair, as nobody else is gonna be able to participate. Especially from what I have read, for example, Chinese players are really some of the best in the world, and they're obviously gonna be excluded by that. And there are also some worldwide players as well. So yeah, tough luck for you. This is not entirely for the community as at large, but for the subset. So yep, you can see right now, exclusive to the Vietnamese community, and general participation is not possible. No, and we are going to be having on the full and main event, we are having just the finals, if I'm not mistaken. Can say right now, before the live grand final at Casto de Almodovar del Rio qualification stage. So that's, yeah, the first thing that is a bit funny about the tournament. It's kind of sad, I guess, that it's not gonna be open for everybody. Prize pool 30,000, pretty solid, especially for Southeast Asia. It's gonna be a ton of money in there. So happy for them, I guess, but I guess there are gonna be plenty of people who will be liking to take and participate as well. But kind of like the other part is, of course, a bit funnier, as in the last Red Bull, they were playing the finals. They were also playing, if I'm not mistaken, qualification on the original game, and then the finals will play it on Definitive Edition. And then now it's gonna be moving even step forward and further into Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition Rise of Rome DLC. So that's actually moving it even further away from what they are used to on the original game. So basically, it's as if you were playing qualification on StarCraft, and then you were playing the main event on StarCraft 2. Basically, that's kind of like the level of change that you have there. So it's quite a bit extreme, but it just kind of showcases the whole idea in there for Microsoft, right? There is basically like a showcase and marketing event, and practically not like a serious competition. And that's how you need to be kind of taking that and understanding it, of course. But yeah, that's gonna be there for Age of Empires 1, and how it's gonna be going that way for them. No, and for Age of Empires 2, we already do have, of course, a bit more information on that as well, as that one is gonna be kind of classic, what the players are used to. Again, Empire Wars, by the way, completely dead part of the game. Nobody plays that. Nobody really likes it too much, to be honest, from the players and from the community. As far as I know, it's not like, I wouldn't go as far as to say hate it, probably not. But yeah, it's simply not popular. Nobody plays it besides Red Bull, like legit. No other tournaments are hosted for that, no nothing. So you're gonna be very rarely seeing it. And, well, the fun part for Age of Empires 2 that they actually added in is the fact that you are going to be having qualification from a ladder. Half the people are gonna be qualified from a ladder, which is absolutely insane on its own. They already there were, of course, problems in previous tournaments where people had to be disqualified because of cheesing the ladder in different tournaments. So this is just like quite a bit extreme. Because of that, they even reset the ladder yesterday, I think, and they were doing that. So that's gonna be like a clean slate. No, and they are claiming that they're gonna be paying close attention and trying to basically detect some attempts on dodging people, point sitting, and whatever stuff like that. No, good luck. You have definitely prepared quite nice chore for yourselves, because you can absolutely rest assured people will be doing that. The problem also is you're gonna be having some different time zones, so therefore that already is a thing. That, for example, you could be having people playing in certain times where they're gonna be missing all the others. For example, typically you're gonna be having Asians having a possibility to play in early morning GMT, like for example somewhere 8-10 GMT, and the other top that is basically based in Europe is gonna be playing in the evenings, 12 hours from that. So they practically never meet, right? And at that point, that's creating a huge problem for legitimacy of the ladder, of course, for obvious reasons. And that's also something you cannot be punishing in any kind of way, because that's like, how we should be punishing that somebody is in different time zones. They might be doing it on purpose, dodging the players that way, but at the same time, no way to actually say you dodging him on purpose, because just like you have no ground for that. You can't really do it. So this is just like really opening, not a can, but a whole bathtub of worms that could happen, and there could be a serious drama about it at the end. Of course, the part is that it's gonna be until 28th July, so we're having like 3 months later or whatever, which is extreme on its own. So that's probably gonna be a lot of grind during July. Also, by the way, it doesn't help that it's obviously during summer, so yeah, well, all the people can be saying goodbye to any kind of summer vacations, but I guess it comes with the tournaments and being a competitive player sometimes. But they at least have something to fight for reasonably, because they have, of course, large prize pool, so they can be expected to be doing something extra. No, and then that's gonna be also the last chance qualifier. That is gonna be including some extra players, 2 of them, because of course there are gonna be 2 invitees. Interesting is that there is another one that is not announced. This is so strange. The first one is the last winner, Tatoch, making sense. But this is so damn strange. Why would you be actually having a second invitee that you don't even know who it is? Like, no, it's actually kind of big question who it is. Because I think it should be like Liere, maybe there's some kind of like claim, but maybe that's why it's unannounced, because he doesn't know if he wants to be going or whatnot, I don't know. Because otherwise, if you would be even Viper or Hera, like you are just a few seconds away from asking them and then 100% confirming. I don't see them not playing there, unless they have like, I don't know, childbirth or whatever. Maybe, maybe that could be kind of reason for Viper, because I think he's expecting, if I'm not mistaken. So this is kind of strange, so I don't know what this is supposed to be meaning, but nonetheless the last chance qualifier is gonna be interesting, I think, also for us in Age of Mythology. So you can see right now this is gonna be taken 10th to 18th of August. It's gonna be 1 tournament, a format, single elimination throughout. Competition is the last chance to qualify, and 2 champions are accepted. So this looks like it's gonna be 1 tournament, as far as I understand it, for like 1 week. So they're gonna be playing like Monday, Tuesday, whatever. So it looks like registration is not yet open, but it is. You can register for the user. Yeah, it seems like it's gonna be simply 1 tourney. You can probably right now look at that straight, I imagine. And there's some kind of further info maybe. Because they usually used to be 2 for the last chances in different tournaments in Age of Empires 2. So that's why I'm not entirely certain if it's really only 1 or not. But it looks like it's gonna be only 1. Main event, of course, distribution of the prize pool, 150,000 for them. Well, decent price pool. For example, the latest tournament is 70,000 Warlords, if I'm not mistaken. That is right now going to be starting, or has started, qualifications. So last chance qualifiers are going to be having some decent price pool there as well. For those who do not make it through, of course. No, and I'm thinking this is interesting for us, because it kind of shows you the time frame that they have. And therefore, it could be meaning that also somewhere around that, you could be having qualifications for Retold. And considering Gamescom is going to be practically like a week after this, it will be making absolutely super sense that the qualifications would be there. Top 2 advanced. No, they are already there. 9th to 10th. This is basically like 8 in the main event, because there are 8 players in the main event. So 7th and 8th are practically from the qualifiers, and 9th to 10th are going to be the semi-finalists. And this is the quarter-finalist of the last chance qualifier. So that's how it is. So basically like, yeah, semi-final is this. So this is pretty decent price pool for them. Oh yeah, well, it kind of is, but it's kind of how it's done in AoE 2, so that is how it should be. So yeah, I'm thinking this is actually what's maybe interesting for the Retold, as I mentioned, that we could be there for having qualification also at the end of August. We're gonna be getting to that for some extra information later, because we need to speculate a lot since we don't have too much information about it. No, and therefore, we're gonna be moving forward. Sad Panda skipping Age of Empires 3, of course. By the way, in case you haven't noticed, when they were announcing it on their Discord, they mistakenly tagged Age of Empires 3 instead of Age of Mythology, so... kind of like unwittingly rub the salt in there. It's kind of sad overall, right? You're having the whole franchise, literally the whole franchise, and you can't be making even a stupid show match for them. Like, I just don't get it. For example, Age of Empires 4 that we get into, it's just like a glorified show match, right? So why can't they do the same thing? One match for Age of Empires 3 at least, just to be giving them at least something small. I don't know. It just like, even it was excluded even before and stuff. And this is why I believe that people should be grabbing this chance by the hair for the Red Bull on Retold, because I do not expect there to be any kind of great support for Age of Mythology after, based on how they are behaving towards 3D, for example. Because if you look at it, the 3D is having very similar numbers comparably to Age of Mythology as far as the multiplayers and stuff like that. So they might be having it in, they probably have it in the same bag. So you need to be careful about managing your expectations. If you are expecting tens of thousands of dollars every quarter, year, or whatever for AoM, well, the viewership would have to really surprise, and the sales. The sales might be decent, but yeah, well, we'll see how quickly it's gonna be dropping off potentially when people finish the campaigns. So yeah, there are plenty of unknowns in there, and I'll be advising caution about it. But let's go to Age of Empires 4, which is just like, I don't understand this one at all. I might be just gonna see me that I complain all the time, but this one, I'm on the verge of calling travesty, really, what they did with that. It's just like completely out of whack what they prepared for Age of Empires 4. And in my opinion, is a full confirmation it wasn't supposed to be there originally. That they just kind of like edited because maybe they were somewhat pressured into that because of the best-selling expansion, and they even kind of highlighted it themselves and therefore got themselves a bit into a corner. Because the format that they have chosen for 4 is absolutely obscene. Because they are having just the finals in there, just the finals on the castle, with one participant fully invited. He skips the qualification, he goes straight into castle, so it's a direct donation of $10,000. Marine Lord, by the way, but nonetheless. Marine Lord, he's getting donation of $10,000 straight. And, well, then you're gonna be having tournament in the community for one more player into the final. So I basically have literally just a show match in there. And, well, just like, I don't even know how else to explain how completely wrong it actually seems, and it kind of is. So, really, I'm thinking this is fully confirming that AoE 4 is a late edition, that it wasn't originally planned. I'm really behind the fact that it originally was supposed to be only Age of Empires 2. I'm thinking so. Maybe at maximum Age of Empires 1, because it's somewhat like a practically off-community event for the Vietnamese, so like nobody seriously kind of could be even caring about it, because nobody can be playing there even, so yeah. But yes, this definitely is not great. Originally, it also was announced as also Empire Wars. Again, completely dead mode, nobody plays that, but in Age of Empires 4, people also kind of like actively hate it. So that's like another level to it. And they actually relented with that very quickly. They relented to it basically like within a day after people started complaining. So that, in my opinion, there is a point of view you could be having on that confirms they don't care too much, and therefore it really is just like an appendix to the main show, right? Price pool is gonna be $50,000 for them, which is kind of sweet. That's not bad. Of course, if you're gonna be remembering the last Red Bull, 200,000 for Age of Empires 2, 300,000 for Age of Empires 4. You can kind of see a certain tendency, and Age of Empires 4 players are definitely feeling that in their tournaments already, even by EGC TV and overall. But they have some kind of nicely kind of like grassroots going up hosts, so they have more tournaments coming from below without the support of either EGC or Microsoft themselves. So they will have something, but they will not probably be able to have like full-time maybe players or whatnot too much somewhat soon. Who knows? But it seems like that really Microsoft is clearly going down on that and on the prize pools. But yeah, that is one part in here. That's at least something that they changed. But at the same time, it also just kind of goes into that this is so incredibly common in the Age of Empires 2 part, kind of hosting tournaments, and especially kind of the official ones and Red Bull. This is not the first time either. So you are having a tournament, like a major event, teased as much, considered as much by practically everybody, huge prize pools. You are having it like half year in the making at minimum. And this is what you come up with. And you think that's a good idea. And then you are surprised that people complain that it's crap, the settings. Like, those people who actually prepare this are paid for that, practically from community money. And this is not the first occurrence. This is really kind of regular in the high-level things. In Age of Empires 2, there are also plenty of other tournaments that are having weird settings. Often they are changed after the announcement. Sometimes they even aren't. For example, with the Titans League from T90. In the last season, for example, there were some issues that people pointed out. But nonetheless, just like that, this is a recurring theme. And it kind of seems to me that either, just like has two solutions. Either the people are really useless, who are actually making the decisions in there, or they are doing the classic bait and switch, meaning we're going to be showing you something bad, we know that it's bad, but then we're going to be as like a relenting to be seeming the good guys, and you're going to be happy, and then even the other crap thing is looking less crap. And that works like a charm. I mean, like in the chat here in Age of Empires 4, they just got so much praise for this kind of decision that they are not going to be doing the Empire Wars anymore, and it's going to be a normal game. That like, it's just like completely baffling me, because all you need to legitimately do is just like have at least somebody who knows the community, and you just gonna know what to do. That's not gonna be complete, like, huge problem for the players and for the community. In the end, World's Edge is having constantly, there are like 5 people in the community team. How many people are currently right now? For example, you have community team stuff. You have 5 people here. Have you ever seen them anywhere with the games? And it doesn't matter if Age of Mythology or anything else. I've never seen them anywhere do anything at all. Basically, all things that they are doing is posting updates here, making articles on patch notes, and that's it. And maybe moderating their forums, I guess. That's the job they do, it feels to me. I've never seen any kind of community management by them. Not any kind of involvement during tournaments, during any kind of important discussions. Like, really. I just don't understand that. You're having so many people, and you just can't be making any kind of basic, like, information gathering from the community, what maybe is going to be making the community happy. I don't get it. I just really don't get that. No, they were playing Empire Wars last time. in the previous tournament as well. That was Empire Wars as well. If I'm not mistaken. Oh, actually, did they have Empire Wars back then? Oh, no, they didn't. Or did they? Wait. When was Empire Wars introduced? Probably like last year. Because the first tournament was EGC TV. I'm not sure if it wasn't before Red Bull somewhere. I'm not entirely certain on the timings. So yeah, maybe it wasn't. Maybe you are gonna be right about that. Because Empire Wars was not like that at the start. But nonetheless, it's just like completely baffling how you can be actually doing this. And really, this is not the first time. This is an nth time. So this is a recurring topic in preparing some crap settings and then having to change them and being the community heroes because they listen to the community. Well, maybe once, but especially if you are having even such a backing and everybody being a paid person beyond that, it's their job to be preparing a good tournament, and they constantly failed at that. I don't know. I'm probably just like too idealistic, or maybe just kind of too perfectionist, or I don't know, but I just don't understand it. I'm just like not entirely on board with this whole process, how it constantly works. But nonetheless, I'm very happy for Age of Empires 4 that they got their wish, and it's gonna be the original game. I'm very happy for the players. It's gonna be making the tournament better for them. But yeah, well, the fact that you do have show match against Marine Lord, who is having assured money on top of it, yeah, that's still kind of hard to go down for the players. And it's a bit of a shame, because recently there were interesting results in the tournaments. For example, Papipo and Wham having some good results against both Marine Lord and Beastie QT, for example. So it's even kind of worse for them. Those guys are legit sad because of that, because they were improving, they were having the results, and now they get a kick into the nuts, because just like one player is going to be going into the main event. And then if you look, of course, the prize pools, the differences between the main event and the qualification stage. I've already seen plenty of players not entirely being motivated to even practice too much for that. Let's put it that way. Because it's not entirely at this point too much sustainable for them to just kind of like all-time it anymore with these kinds of conditions. No, yeah, you're definitely right. There are gonna be higher ups making decisions, and I'm fairly certain that's gonna be behind the qualification for Age of Empires 2 for the ladder. Because there was already like a huge affair when the Empire Wars ladder was replacing Deathmatch ladder some years back. And well, as I mentioned, the game mode is completely dead. Nobody plays that. So I'm absolutely certain that was some kind of higher up, maybe the one who was responsible for pushing through the Empire Wars ladder. And they just kind of like don't want to give it up, and they just basically want to force the players to damn play it. And it really feels that way, absolutely, because this is just like really odd to be making qualifying places from the ladder. And what I'm expecting that maybe if they're gonna be continuing with we give you bad settings and then reland, they could be maybe cutting this in half, the qualifiers for Age of Empires 2, that 2 from a ladder, and you will be having another qualifier for 2 more people. I could definitely see them doing that. No, the Empire Wars for Age of Empires 2 is basically a gimmick. Yeah, the original idea was for faster paced games, but it's actually not entirely too much true. It, by the way, definitely wasn't true in Age of Empires 4. There it's even more extreme. In AoE 2, it's maybe a bit. Problem in Age of Empires 2 is that the game is not balanced around it, and therefore you are having completely broken civilizations. Typically the Mesoamericans with Eagle Warriors that are not, basically you need to be banning, you need to be almost always banning them, and once you get it, you are having a huge edge. So the game really isn't balanced for Empire Wars, so that's an issue there. But yeah, it is supposed to be for like quicker games, because there always were kind of talks that the Dark Age is boring in Age of Empires 2, and you want to be there for skipping that. That's where Empire Wars came from. And Red Bull basically took it as really what they wanted to do as a special part, and they are keeping it. And in Age of Empires 2, people basically are not entirely... They are kind of grumbling, but they do not want to be complaining too much, the players, because they are way too used to the fact that they are monetarily dependent on Microsoft, and they don't want to be going out of line. They like their cozy spots in there, so they usually do not complain too much, even if it goes against what they would be liking. So they are way more willing to go for whatever is given to them. And to be honest, if you're gonna be having, yeah, it is that way. In Age of Empires 2, it is that way. There's a lot more synergy between the tops and Microsoft and Forgotten Empires and stuff, because there's a longer history, of course, between them and such. So it's also kind of like people knowing each other and stuff. So yeah, but nonetheless, if you're gonna be having price pool of 150,000, you kinda are gonna be somewhat okay with a lot more things, right? So you are not gonna be wanting to necessarily complain too much, because the money is gonna be for people who are dependent on that, feeling quite a bit fine there. Whereas for Age of Empires 4, if you're gonna be having these kinds of settings, where you basically are fighting for 50,000, but from that 10,000 is already off, basically, it's not entirely as much. And really, considering how the scene is developing in AoE 4, it's not entirely as motivational anymore. They might have been used to too much, to be honest, so they kind of got spoiled, in my opinion, from the very beginning. But yeah, they are already just kind of having quite a big questions if they should be continuing with the game, and plenty players are not even too much motivated for that anymore. So I'm not saying they're not going to be trying for this, but in general, the sentiment in the community is that way, and it's kind of evident that also Microsoft is toning it down for AoE 4. So that's maybe like hope for some that maybe they're going to be moving those things in parts into Age of Mythology. But yeah, I'll be very careful about having too high expectations for that. But nonetheless, well, with this one right now being therefore done as well, the information for AoE 4, we are going to be therefore heading into our important part. Seems like it's gonna be also the last qualification. Okay, let's kind of maybe have a look at this. I don't think I've seen that. Also the last qualifier for AoE 4, if there's maybe some kind of further info. See, probably, I guess not much. Practically the same that was there. Yeah, it's gonna be just like a one event as well. I don't think they are having the date for that, right? Oh, there it is. July 20th to August 5th, actually. It's gonna be taking place. Oh, wow. That's actually gonna be important info, because if you're gonna be looking at the Age of Empires 2, August 10th to August 18th. By the way, August 10th, what the hell is that? Saturday. August 10th is Saturday. July 20th to August 5th. August 5th is Monday. 20th, they're gonna be having like 2 weeks from July. Yeah, that basically right now tells us when there's gonna be qualification for Age of Mythology. Now, it can be in between. You are gonna be, in my opinion, it's gonna be with Gamescom. I'm thinking it's gonna be Gamescom time. No, the visas I'm gonna be touching upon. I'm thinking it's already stupid timing for Age of Empires 2. I'm gonna be explaining why. That's what I'm gonna be also touching upon. So, either you're gonna be start of July, or even before that. I kinda doubt that. Doubt that. What could possibly happen is that you would be having on the game show that's gonna be at the start of June, that you could be having closed beta, or some beta, and you would be having qualification from there. That is somewhat possible frame that could maybe happen. But it's either gonna be before or after those two. It's quite a bit evident then. So that's good to know at this point. So if you're gonna be there for, oh, let's this way. So for Age of Mythology, obviously do not have anything yet. So not much to be said here besides the qualification being that we are supposedly going to be having 2 players coming up, and 2 players are gonna be already invited. So that's also kind of like a huge question and question mark. Obviously, at this point, everybody should be understanding this is a marketing event and not like a real tournament. So we should be very careful about expecting some kind of great settings. And considering what has happened and what they have done to all the 3 other games, I'm thinking that's gonna be some kind of curveball coming our way as well. So for the... where is actually right now the better information regarding how many people are gonna be playing? It's probably not here, right? Was it maybe on the web? Qualifiers 2 for direct invites. Because it was posted somewhere, I just right now can't find where it was. That it's supposed to be 2 invited players and 2 qualifiers. I'm just gonna blind currently here. So I have more information on that I'm gonna be sharing in a moment. I just want to be at this point getting some further info. Obviously, that's right now the price pool. We're gonna be getting 10,000 for each of Mythology, which is already kind of, we could be thinking low, considering the others and everything. I'm thinking this is a clear sign, really, that we are not gonna be getting any kind of huge like esports scene or whatever supported by Microsoft. Really, people need to be careful about their expectations. I don't think that's even their goal at all with Age of Mythology. It's all absolutely clearly geared towards casuals and single players and everything, so which you can understand, but yeah, people are just expecting a bit too much of it. But nonetheless, I at this point don't know where it's actually posted, but nonetheless, it is going to be 2 people invited and 2 people from qualification. As for the invited people, yeah, I'm not entirely certain. Logic would dictate that the best kind of idea would be that it would be Mista and Magic, right? Because that would be definitely from the community bringing the most attention. But there are quite a few things going against that. What I could see as an option could be actually Magyar. Because he evidently, when he was last year playing Age of Mythology on Woobley, in my opinion, it was actually tied already to the fact to Retold. He was probably already the closest in it back then. So I'm thinking it might be him as an overreach to League of Legends. I wouldn't be discounting that. And then it's an open question. One interesting thing is that Gamer Legion players, they evidently know and knew ahead. A few weeks ago, I was helping from their team setting up Wobbly game. And back then I thought, well, they're simply gonna be closest in Retold because, well, they of course always are. They're always in the know and everything and invited. But now this is gonna be putting it into quite a bit of a different idea and position. And for example, Dowd used to be a top expert in Age of Mythology 20 years ago. So I'm thinking he'll be a good pick for that. So provided he doesn't, for example, qualify for Age of Empires 2, he might be one of the additions in there. Yes, from the marketing perspective, Magic Mista make no sense because you are right. They most probably would be also qualified. No, with Mista it's not entirely all that certain because he has to be unfortunately farming. But Magic would most probably qualify. It would be kind of like a low chance probably that not, especially since he's having early access. He's already played Retold, so yeah, that's like thinking a given. And that's gonna be like a huge help. Basically, anybody in the community who's not gonna be having early access or doesn't already have it can practically forget about qualifying. Like, how do you want to be fighting against people who are already playing the game for a year or half a year and know the things and have already prepared for that? You would have to be really lucky. Or grinding some, or probably getting lucky simply. I'm thinking that even grind might not be helping you too much. So you can kind of hope maybe to be reaching some interesting places that will be probably still having some price. I'm gonna be interested about the price pool distribution because I'm slightly getting worried it might be very top heavy. As far as, for example, having like 5,000 for the winner, like 3,000 for the second, and maybe it's gonna be only the top 4 and nothing for the qualification. That would be incredibly sad if that happened, but I wouldn't be surprised at all by some kind of distribution like that. I'm feeling that 10,000 is too few, and you can't be having such an event and basically give the winner $1,000, right? You just can't do that. If you are gonna be comparing with others, they are getting 20,000, some 40,000 or whatever. They just like, you can't do that. So it feels to me, it will be winner 5, then you're gonna be having like 3,000 for the second, and it really might be that way. Like 5, 3, 2, or whatever. No, 5, 3, some 1,500, 500, something along those lines maybe. Because you can't be sending the last one, I guess the fourth one home with nothing. So I'm thinking that the qualifiers are unfortunately not gonna be having any kind of great prize pool there, if anything at all. No, yeah, and the invitees, I'm really strongly feeling as well that we are probably gonna be getting the curveball there, that somebody off the community is gonna be getting invited. Magyar would be okay. I think it to be also making good sense, but the last one, I'm also having uncanny feeling, as you say, Chrono, that it might be someone from GL. And my favorite would be Doubt, as he does have real history with the game. As practically the only one, I think in from Game Legion. I don't think anybody else has played it seriously. They played a few years ago on Woobly. I'm having some games on my YouTube, even of them. But yeah. So that's maybe something like that. But nonetheless, I definitely wish the best of luck to everybody who's gonna be trying that. No, and now for the timings, as you mentioned. So this basically also tells us that there's gonna be release. No, well, it's not entirely too much of a news, right? But the confirmation that the release should be coming this year, therefore, and that the game probably is going all right. No, well, depends. They have released games in trash states before, just because they wanted to meet the deadline. So yeah. I'm not entirely certain if anybody else is having some connection to AoEII Mythology, to be honest, from other games. So I don't know if maybe somebody like Grabby, like from Warcraft 3, right? Who knows? But yeah, the point is also with the invites, they are going about it very weirdly, because, for example, Marine Lord, based on the chat, I probably won't be able to find it now here. But he was actually claiming in the chat he didn't even know he was invited until like yesterday. So they didn't ask him before if he wants to be even participating and if he even has time, for example. So the kind of like the invites are so damn strange overall. Same as right now in the Age of Empires 2, also that other player not being actually announced who it is. It's a Soviet organization in general for the whole tournament. I don't know, just like, I would just kind of imagine with, if you're gonna be throwing $1 million around, that you will be having some more organization behind that, and it's in general run worse than plenty community tournaments, like seriously. And I'm hoping I'm not having even any kind of high expectations, but I just see way more better organized tournaments regularly. Or getting somebody from the old schoolers, like has been already mentioned before. It's like of PG Fire or stuff like that. That would be kind of funny, but I mean, like, it would be really just funny because they would just get destroyed probably without practice or any kind of even connection to the game for years and years. And who knows? Well, we'll see what actually happens about that. But also for the qualifications, not much of a news in here, but where was the wording that I've actually seen for it somewhere? That like 2 champions are gonna be making it through. But at the same time, I think that was also like the 2 champions are, yeah, here, for example. Only 2 champions are accepted, and that is from 1 tournament, because there is a rumor around the community that we will be having 2 tournaments. I'm not thinking so. I'm thinking it's gonna be 1, same as Age of Empires 2. Because Age of Empires 4 is also having only 1 qualification tournament. So I don't believe you're gonna be getting 2, as there is that. They're just gonna maybe reading too much into the wording. It has to be, in my opinion, 1, based on the standard kind of like settings for all the rest and all the other things here. So I'm thinking 1 tournament. No, and for the timing, definitely expecting something on the June game show, as you mentioned. I will be expecting a release date mention and information there, and gameplay reveal, maybe some closed beta. If they would be wanting to do qualification then you would have to be already having at minimum closed beta. But my kind of guess could be, because how it usually has been going and how it has been done, was that Gamescom was the important event, and that's at the end of August. That would be a week after the qualification for Age of Empires 2. And you could be therefore releasing maybe the beta there. You could be going like an open beta after Gamescom and doing the qualification right on that week, somehow, at the end of that week. It's definitely cutting it close based on the visas, but I'm thinking that already there is the ship that has sailed with Age of Empires 2 timings. Because Age of Empires 2 already has had its share of players that couldn't attend tournaments and LANs because of visas. For example, typically players from Vietnam, even Neo from China, for him it took months, if I'm not mistaken, his visa. So imagine if somebody like, I don't know, Kvoth or Ragnaroks from Pakistan made it through. I can kind of imagine that being a bit of a problem with the visas, for example. I'm not entirely 100% certain if they have visas, but I would assume so. So just like you have to be taking that into consideration. And I'm thinking that the timing is already quite a bit off. And just like legitimately having about like a month for visas, it's not enough time necessarily. It really depends what kind of officer you get and how well they slept. And it can just kind of get somewhere dropped down. And you can be taken easily 2-3 months before you actually get processed properly. So I'm really thinking that might be some kind of issue. And I'm really not liking that part of organization they are doing as well, because they know that it is a problem. It has been a problem before, actively, for both NAC and Red Bull as well, if I'm not mistaken. So I really do not understand the whole organization that they are doing with this. Such a big event, everybody is looking forward to it, and then, well, we have these imperfections that can be very easily avoided. It's just like so strange. It really just kind of feels like it was supposed to be AoE 2 only, and then they somehow, bit by bit, piece by piece, got the other games in. So I guess good for them, of course, to be having at least something. But on the other hand, you are always going to be having that kind of feeling. No, well, maybe it could have been easily done slightly better, with not much of an effort extra. But nonetheless, I guess we in Age of Mythology community are going to be happy to be having the tournament here, whatever is going to be its format. It's going to be a nice introduction to the game, so hopefully the game is also going to be in an acceptable state to be, well, not scaring people away. So fingers crossed for that, of course, and that the game is also going to be decent in the first place, considering how majorly redesigned it is going to be. By the way, there are also maybe some kind of notices from people who actually could be knowing a few things, that maybe autocue doesn't have to be a given. I think it would be a mistake not to be having it there, but interesting. But considering they, for example, added auto farm placement into Age of Empires 2 just recently, I'm kind of seeing it a bit unlikely. I'm rather expecting that kind of thing to be, for example, making it into Age of Mythology Retold, rather than removing the automatizations. So, yeah, well, who knows. But nonetheless, this is gonna be what I wanted to be having a look at with right now the Red Bulls and kind of thoughts on that. I'm just kind of like thinking this could be so much better, and with very little effort and just a bit more thought put beyond that. It already, of course, is gonna be like the biggest event in the Age of franchise for sure. But it leaves some kind of sour taste in a few things, and some major things. And well, of course, Age of Empires to be in the winners. It is their tournament originally, so I guess making sense. And at this point and at this time, they don't have too much to complain about, I guess. Besides maybe that ladder qualification, which is all kinds of strange. And well, we can look forward to Age of Mythology Retold, and we can feel sorry for Age of Empires 3 players, because I don't think they deserve such treatment. But we are not the ones deciding these things, are we? Okay, so that's gonna be, I guess, the information I wanted to be having here. Let's maybe close it also on the same page, and you're gonna be having to wait for more information. So yeah, my theory is that the qualification for Red Bull Wololo in Retold is gonna be The Wololo is just like also the name. I don't like it personally, but I guess it kind of speaks to the general audience well. But nonetheless, expectations is either in June or end of August. Either those, or kind of like maybe end of June, start of July. That's where you can be expecting to potentially grind. By the way, Sensui was already asking about the qualification. He was actually asking if it's gonna be on Age of Mythology Vanilla or Titans. Yeah, I had to be telling him that it's gonna be retold. So I guess we're gonna be seeing him grinding as well. Hopefully somebody gets him some previous or kind of like pre-access possibly, so that he's gonna be having some good chance. But yeah, I wish everybody who's gonna be participating good luck with the tournament. Red Bull Wololo El Reinado. Okay then, so that was a segment that took about like an hour. In the end, I just can't be concise, like never ever. And I haven't even touched, for example, on the map choices for Age of Empires 4. That's also quite a bit of contention point in there. But yeah, well, they were given already promised they're gonna be having the maps at least recoded, so hopefully for them. And for the settings for Age of Mythology, kinda like I left it here at the end. I kinda thinking that probably the best would be, if it's gonna be showcase event, then you probably should be doing random got random map. Not sure if they're gonna be wanting to introduce some bans into it or whatnot, just to be seeing some civilization being banned every single time. I'm not entirely thinking that way, right? So, yeah. And also a bit of an addendum to the video, since I was originally making it and recording it last week during the community session, and since then there has been some new information shared, like for example that for the Age of Empires Tour tournament the second invitee is going to be Viper. Well, this icon of course of the Age of franchise and especially Age of Empires 2 makes pretty good sense, even though there has been a bit of a discussion about it, why him, if maybe there are some other names like Liere, Hera for example, of course with his current form, and why therefore there was such a delay, which maybe could be because, well, personal reasons. He's of course expecting a kid and maybe something to do with that, so he maybe wasn't 100% sure if he's gonna be able to attend, but nonetheless he was of course expected to be making it through. Though of course otherwise there's also the question how they were even handling it, because Marine Lord, according to his own words, didn't even know he was invited until it was announced, so yeah, who knows what was actually going on with that, but usually the GL guys are very well informed and they usually know quite a bit ahead of everybody else, which is kind of questionable from multiple points of view, but nonetheless that is the reality in the community and how it unfortunately works. But nonetheless we can at this point have a look onto where it maybe got decided or where it was born, the idea, as if you're gonna be looking at the series of events that could be maybe giving some other credence to other players that could be joining up. Like for example, the series whole started in 2020 with a bit of a series of events spanning like the 2 years to 2021, with the very first one here, 20,000 euro prize pool, Mistrio winning against Viper. Then the second, that was already Liere winning against Hera here. You can see beating Viper in the semifinals, that was up in the price point to 30,000. In the third event, that was Doubt, beating again Liere. In the fourth one, Liere repeating the finals against Hera, again winning. You can see definitely the most successful player in the all Wololos, which is gonna be confirmed further because this is right now the first offline final in the amped up prize pool, $100,000. It was the first Heidelberg Castle event, and well, yeah, Viper winning here. So that's in my opinion where the invite is coming from. Logically, like the offline events with Marine Lord, it's also making sense somewhat, I guess. And well, Liere just confirming his class here, and even in the Wololo Legacy 2 years ago, again Liere in the finals where Tatok beat him. So definitely the most successful player, Liere. So I'm gonna be curious if he makes it through this time around, though he's not entirely the one for grind, so I'm frankly kinda doubting that, but who knows, maybe he's gonna be right now interested and he's gonna be putting in the effort, though really ladder grind is kinda hard. So I guess if he would be making it through, it probably would have to be through the last chance tournament. That's gonna be basically like one chance, but who knows? I mean, like evidently Empire Wars is fitting him pretty well, so chances are there. But nonetheless, this was just like a I guess, illustration where probably Viper's invitation is coming from. No, and there's also been some other news shared, and that, as we have seen and you have maybe noticed already, is regarding the attendance on the spot. First 100 tickets have been already sold, and there are gonna be some supposedly 300 more that are gonna be given out by a raffle. So if you want to be attending in the place in Spain, then of course feel free to sign up for that. And in a few days and in a week, there are gonna be some 2 raffles. You're gonna be always getting like 2 tickets, so that you are gonna be given the opportunity to go there with somebody and not alone, of course. Makes sense, so good idea. And well, if you're not gonna be making it through and into the spot, then potentially you can still have some kind of viewing parties. There are gonna be official ones in Cordoba and Madrid in Spain, but there are probably going to be some local ones as well in different countries, as it lately is a bit of a habit, let's say, for some tournaments in Age of Empires 2. So I'm kind of guessing there might be some kind of guerrilla actions either by the community or maybe even something a bit more official by the hosts of the tournament as well. Who knows? So keep an eye open for all of that information and of course some further details, as you're of course especially waiting for what's going to happen with Age of Mythology, as there is of course quite a bit of mystery box so far. So yeah, well, follow the Discord or the web or some community outlets, and you're gonna be of course getting the information, well, right, when it's going to be released. And if there's gonna be something more interesting to be potentially talking about, well, maybe you're gonna be having some further commentary on that here as well. So well, hope you therefore enjoyed the video, or at least found it at least somewhat informational, I guess. And I've been Blackadder at Blackadder's Place. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and see you later.